so we could not have a morning lecture due to some technical difficulties. So we have already finished all the laws, right? We have finished our Constitution, Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code. Then we are done with POSCO Act. Then we are done with Wildlife Protection Act and Indian Evidence Act. So we are done with all the acts and laws, right? So I'll send you the presentations as soon as possible. Okay, you study from that. I've mentioned some sections also. You can read from that. Okay, and your next topic in second unit is Indian courts. Okay, about Indian courts. Then we have something about prosecution. We have something about prosecution. Then after that I think prosecution, defense, and expert witness. That's your second unit. So we'll try to finish this unit this week itself. Okay. So Indian courts. I won't need to explain too much about courts, right? You will already know what are courts, how many courts are in India. Should we revise the last lecture that we had? I'll send you the presentations as soon as possible, okay? Yeah. Last lecture we discussed about Protection of Child from Sexual Offences Act, okay? So Protection of Child from Sexual Offences Act, because sexual offences were increasing in our country, child sexual offences, and we did not have any specific law for that, okay? So what we did, we produced a new law, that is, or act, okay? The new act, that was the Protection of Child from Sexual Offences Act, or the POXO Act. POXO Act, very new act, okay? 2012. It was like a campaign and developed in 2012. Okay, so it passed. It became an act on 22nd May 2012. So what was the main reason for this? Main reason for this was before this POSCO Act, the Indian Penal Code only had some sections about this rape and all. Okay, child, we did not have any sections for like child. Okay, minor, they didn't define it properly. So we have rape, that is section 375. Okay, outraging modesty of woman, then unnatural offences. Rape, we saw the definition, right? All these laws, all these sections were gender specific. They are only told about woman, okay, not about male or children or anyone. Outraging modesty, they are also about woman only, and it was not properly defined about modesty. Then what were the salient features of this act? This act was gender neutral, like they already told about children, okay, it may be male or female, or a boy or a girl, okay, so they only tell like children, that's all, or the child. So gender neutral defines a child under 18 years of age, okay, anybody who is under 18 years of age is a child. Under this act, there are some other acts where which contradicts. 16 years is mentioned somewhere. For example, if you can be penalized, if your age is from 16 to 18, you can be penalized, okay, if you know the mentionary of the crime. So there are some exceptions for this, but in this act, child is anyone who is below 18 years of age. Defines different forms of sexual abuse, people who traffic children also. So after that, this also gave a proper definition of pornography. Pornography was given in IT Act, right? This gave a proper definition of pornography. That means any videos or animated movies also made up with children, that is also considered as pornography, okay? Important sections we discussed last day. We discussed about penetrative sexual assault and its punishment, 3 and 4, aggravated sexual assault and its punishment, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 stand is for sexual assault and punishment, and 11 and 12 for sexual harassment and punishment. Please do read the sections, okay? You will forget it. Please do read the sections or you will forget everything. Because in the time of exams, when you are reading the sections together, I used to do that. So when you are reading the sections together, you will write one section and some other definition for that, okay? Please don't do that. Please study it daily. You have time now, right? So study it daily. You will be here after 1 week, so no worries. Even the references also, I will send you this as soon as possible. Okay, now we will deal with Indian courts. Okay, no, almost the third last topic in your second unit, that is Indian courts. So how many courts are there in India? Indian judicial system is stratified into many levels. I told you, right? We have central level, union level, then district level. It goes on like that. But our judiciary is unitary in nature. Unitary means, I told you, right? If the law stays as one, If you are having some law in, if you violate a law in Punjab, or if you violate a same law in Kerala also, you will be punished by the judiciary. Okay, it's not like state will be having different law. All the territories will be having the same law, that, and you can appeal from state to high court to Supreme Court. Like that, every law in the land is equal for every person. I have explained you it about America. America, it is not like that. Each state will have its own like Supreme Court. Each state will be having its own federal court. So what happens? For example, if you are in Texas, you are allowed to carry gun. Okay, and if you move from Texas to some place else, Florida, their law maybe they can't carry gun or firearms. So you can be prosecuted there. So understood? For India, it's not like that. If you cannot carry a gun in Tamil Nadu or UP or India, Kerala or anywhere, Bengal or anywhere. Okay, that's the same law for all the states. But in US and it's not like that. So our system is unitary in state. The Indian judicial system is stratified in many levels. At the highest is the Supreme Court. Everybody knows that, right? The highest or apex court in India is Supreme Court, which is followed by the High Court at state level, district courts at district level, and Lok Adalats at village and panchayat level. So you know how the strata works, right? You have the Supreme Court, then we have a High Court, then we have a district and sessions court over there. After that, you will be having all these panchayat levels, okay, Lok Adalat, all those things. You must have heard about all these things, right? So you will be having those. The judicial arrangement takes care of conservation of law and order by seeing cases associated with both civil and criminal violations. So courts can be widely classified into civil and criminal courts. Okay, civil and criminal. From the High Court, it's okay, but district court onwards, the courts are differentiated: civil into civil and criminal courts. So you know what are civil crimes and criminal. We did not discuss too much about civil laws because there are lots of civil laws. Okay, we start discussing about civil laws, I think you will get an LLB after passing forensics. So we are not going into civil laws. Okay, we are only sticking with our basics of criminal laws, just the basics. So many people have asked about dark web and all things like that. Okay, so these are not only the acts, like these are not just the acts. For example, there's a firearm with you. Okay, you have a firearm. You have a firearm. So you only learned about Evidence Act and all, right? There are so many other acts also. There is, for firearms, you have your Arms Act. You have Arms Act that we are not discussing, okay? But there are so many other acts. For example, for your drugs, you have your NDPS. Act. Okay, narcotic, drugs and psychotropic substances, NDPS Act. Okay, and if you are dealing with, for example, copyrights, book or something, you violated the copyrights, or a brand or something, you violated copyrights. So copyright, you have your Copyrights Act. Okay, so in India we have so many different types of acts. Okay, we will not just prosecute under IPC and CRPC, so that's the procedural law. So but there are so many other acts also. There is Firearms, Arms Act, there is NDPS, there is copyright. So we are not discussing about all those, but they are existing. Okay, so for Firearms are usually prosecuted by the Arms Act. Drugs dealing is mainly taken into NDPS Act. So as a criminal lawyer or judge, you must know all these acts. Okay, you must know all the law. Civil, when it comes to civil, there are lots of other laws. Okay, civil is like double or triple of the criminal. So civil, there are too many laws, like contract acts, how contracts are made, so many laws. We are not getting into civil. Okay, we are only forensic, right? So we are mainly focusing with criminal cases. Yes, so we done that. Then hierarchy, no need to explain, right? We have the Supreme Court and the High Court. Apex Court is Supreme Court. Apex Court in the state is High Court. Okay, District Court, Lok Adalat or village courts. There are small Lok Adalats and village courts. There are special tribunals. That depends. Whenever tribunals are there, the government will put some notifications. Okay, tribunals we are only discussing till Lok Adalats. Okay, in our syllabus we only need to learn about Lok Adalats, District, High and Supreme Court. and we'll be learning only based on criminal codes, not on civil codes. Okay? I'll tell you how the civil codes are, only based on criminal codes we'll be dealing with. Okay, Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, Lok Adalat and tribunals. So Supreme Court, okay. What is Supreme Court? It's Supreme Apex Court in India. Okay, so it's the Apex Court of India and was constituted on 28th January 1915. Constituted on 28th January 1950. The Supreme Court is comprised of Chief Justice of India and 25 other judges. There is Chief Justice of India and 25 other judges in the Supreme Court. Okay, Articles 124 to 147 of the Constitution of India lay down the authority of Supreme Court. So Article 124 to 147 of the Constitution of India, okay, lay down the authorities of Supreme Court. This is the Supreme Court of India. This is the Supreme Court of India. Where is it? Delhi. Okay, when you go to Delhi, you have seen the Supreme Court in so many movies, right? So in New Delhi, you see the Supreme Court. So where is it from? Article 124 to 127. You don't need to learn all the articles. Okay, I'll just explain you what it is, but you don't need to learn all the articles. That will be hectic for you also. So just study whatever is there in the PPT. That's all. And what all sections I have mentioned in the PPT to read, like important sections, that you will have to read. Okay. So this is all about 124. It states about the chapter 4, the Union Judiciary. Okay, 124. Okay, you can cross check the PPTs with the sections if you want, but I am not telling you to study all the sections. Okay, that is not possible. So I'll just read the sections, you can understand it, right? So 124, there shall be a Supreme Court of India consisting of Chief Justice of India, and until Parliament by law prescribes a larger number of not more than 7 other judges. Okay, so what is written here? There shall be a Supreme Court of India consisting of Chief Justice of India, and until Parliament by law prescribes a larger number. So this was enacted in 1950, right? So at that time how much it was? 7 other judges, but now Parliament has enacted law, so now there are 25 judges. Okay, every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President by warrant. So every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President by warrant under his hand and seal after the Constitution, with such judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Okay, fine. So judges are appointed by the President of India. Then it's okay, no need to read everything from this. You understood, right, what is Supreme Court? A judge of the Supreme Court shall not be removed from his office except by an order of the President passed after address by each house of Parliament. Okay, each house, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. He cannot be removed like that. Okay, the judge cannot be removed like that. He can only be removed by the President, only be removed by the order of the President after an address by each house of Parliament supported by a majority of total membership of the House, and by majority of not less than 2/3 of members of that house present. And so how is it done? How is it done? There are judges, there are Supreme Court judges. How are they removed? SC judge. How are they removed? There is your Lok Sabha, the lower house, and your Rajya Sabha, upper house. Both of them has to pass this in like 2/3 majority. And give it to the President. Then the president will can remove the judge. Okay, so how can the judge be removed? Judge can only be removed by the president's order after both of the houses, lower and higher houses, upper house has passed this by 2/3 majority, and they will give it to the president, and the president will can remove the judge. Because judges have some preferences, okay, because if they could directly be removed by the parliament, so this politicians will try to influence the judges, right? If they can be directly removed by the parliament, these politicians will try to if they have any cases, they will try to bribe the judge, or they will try to influence the judge using their political power, right? That is not possible. Because of this, that is not possible, because both the houses, Lok Sabha, for example, the party is having the entire 2/3 majority in Lok Sabha, but they have the majority in Rajya Sabha. The party won't be ruling in Rajya Sabha also, right? So both the houses must have 2/3 majority. Then only you can remove. Okay, then only you have to send to the president. The president will decide to remove or not. So because of that only, judges have some privileges. They are not like no politician can stress the judge on some judgments. Okay, they are independent of everything. They also have good salaries, and they also have protections and everything. They won't need to take bribes and all, because they have enough and more monies. No problem. Okay, that is all thought of while writing the constitution. They thought everything. Okay, they have written it beautifully. Parliament by law regulate the procedure from the president. Okay, fine. Okay, then what are the powers of Supreme Court? So there are some powers of the Supreme Court. What are they? That we will discuss later next. So this is fine. Supreme Court of India. Powers of Supreme Court. Original jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means whether the judge have their like the area they are covering. Okay, so original jurisdiction. Article 131 gives Supreme Court exclusive and original jurisdiction in disputes between. So original jurisdiction means which all cases they can take up. Okay, police, for example, one state there will be so many sub districts, like, and there will be small cities also inside that. So one city will be one police, right? One police station will be there, and police station will only have some jurisdiction. Okay, only some areas it may cover. So just after that place, the other police station will cover. That is not a jurisdiction, what all areas it covers. So Supreme Court has original jurisdiction. Okay, exclusive and original. So whenever two disputes are between a union and the state, whenever central and state is clashing, okay, but that time High Court can't give anything, because High Court is of the state, right? So it will be biased. So whenever center and any state is clashing, in that time Supreme Court can give judgment. Okay, between one state and another state. So between one state and another state, if there is any problem, for example, there is some problem with Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, there are some disputes. So both the high courts cannot give any laws, right? Because they will be biased. So Supreme Court only decides the laws or decides the judgment between a group of states and other states. So a group of states and another state. So if there are some problems between a group of states and one other state, then also Supreme Court gives the jurisdiction goes under the Supreme Court, not under the High Court. Okay, so Article 131 gives the Supreme Court exclusive and original jurisdiction in a dispute between the union and state, between one state and another state, between group of state and others. So what is 131? I am just reading it because I know you won't read at home. You are all at home, you are all enjoying. So I will be reading. Okay. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the Supreme Court shall, to the exclusion of any other court, have original jurisdiction in any dispute between the Government of India and one or more state, or between the Government of India and any state or states on one side and one more or other states, or between two or more states. Okay, it will be confusing when you read it like that. That is why I make the presentations for you. Okay, so you understood, right? 131 defines the jurisdiction, original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Okay, original jurisdiction is okay. No other courts in India has the power to entertain such disputes. Okay, Not no high courts, okay, no Mumbai High Court or Delhi High Court or Gujarat High Court, any high court, no high court has any authority to discuss the or has the power to entertain such disputes. Any dispute which comes under this, no other courts have the power, only Supreme Court has the power. Supreme Court is a guardian of fundamental rights and thus has non-exclusive original jurisdiction as the protector of fundamental rights. So we have some fundamental rights, right? That is why now you understand why we learn fundamental rights. So we have some fundamental rights. So Supreme Court protects this fundamental. Supreme Court is the federal protector or the guardian of fundamental rights. Our High Court is also guardian of fundamental rights. Okay, so you have the so whenever one of you, this is you, for example, this is you, okay, and if your fundamental right is violated, fundamental right violated, if your fundamental right, you or a group of person or any other institution, anything, okay, just take it as you for now. If any other person or any other institution or any other group of people, if the fundamental rights are violated, they have the authority to go directly to Supreme Court or High Court. You don't need to go to lower courts, okay? You can directly go to the higher courts. You can either go to the High Court or Supreme Court. If you are going to Supreme Court directly, you will have to tell why didn't you go to High Court, okay? They will ask you why didn't you go to High Court. So better you go to High Court first. If there is any problem, you can appeal again, right? So these both are this is the Supreme Court is the supreme protector of a fundamental right. High Court also protector of fundamental rights in your state, okay? So whenever there is any problem happening with the fundamental rights, then you can go to the Supreme Court or High Court directly. If you go to the Supreme Court directly, then you have to explain the reason why you did not go to the High Court, okay? There are some writs, okay, there are some writs which are given to you. We won't be taking a lecture on writs. When you come, if you are interested, we'll discuss about writs, okay, when you have time, okay? We won't be discussing about writs for now. Article 32 of the Constitution gives citizens the right to move to Supreme Court directly for enforcement of any fundamental right. So Article 32, I think we'll search for it, that will be easier, right? Article 32. It's very fast. Okay. Go for Indian Kanun, okay? That'll be better. So, Article 32 of the Constitution of India, what did it say? Remedies for enforcement of right conferred by this part. The right to move to Supreme Court by appropriate proceeding for enforcement of right conferred by this part is guaranteed. Okay, the court shall have the power to issue directions of order or writs, including writs nature. So I told you about writs, right? We won't be discussing about the writs, okay? It will be higher lecture. So if you are interested, when you come, you can discuss about the writs. Okay, for now we won't be discussing about writs. So when your fundamental rights are violated, okay, that is out of topic. So when your fundamental rights are violated, you just need to learn that you can go to Supreme Court and High Court when your fundamental right is violated, okay? And when you go to High Court, Supreme Court can issue something known as writs. Okay, there are 5 writs in India. Okay, that is Supreme Court or High Court issues. Okay, so what are the writs? Habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and certiorari. So these are the 5 writs. You don't need to study about the writs. If you are interested, we will tell you. So, when the fundamental rights are violated, according to Article 32, have all the authority to go to the Supreme Court. Okay, you can go to the High Court first. Okay, if you go into the Supreme Court first, they will ask you why didn't you go to High Court first. Okay, don't waste their time. Okay, done with that. Appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means take appeals from lower court. So, under Article 132I of the Constitution of India, an appeal shall lie to the Supreme Court from any judgment, decree or final order from a High Court. Okay, so if you are having some orders, okay, the lower court, district court produce some orders, then what will you do? You can go to the if your district court is there, right? You have your district courts, or you can call it sessions court. Okay, sessions court is there. If it passes some appeal, you can, if it passes some law, you can go and appeal directly to High Court. Okay, and if you don't like the judgment of the High Court, what you can do? You can go and appeal to the Supreme Court. Okay, this is what is known as appellate jurisdiction. The Supreme Court can take appeals from the High Court. Okay, if you have any problem with the judgment of High Court, you can go directly to the Supreme Court. So, Supreme Court is powerful enough to take all the appeals from the High Courts. Okay, so that is known as appellate jurisdiction. Where is it provided? It is provided in section 132I. Sorry, 132, it's not I, it's 132.1, okay. 132.1. So, what does it tell? An appeal shall lie to the Supreme Court from any judgment, decree or final order of a High Court in the territory of India, whether in a civil, criminal or other proceeding. Okay. If the civil proceeding is also okay, similar, for example, High Court gave death penalty. So, you will be happy with that? No, right? You will go to the, you will appeal it. You will appeal and go to the Supreme Court. Okay. Then they may sometimes leave you from the death penalty. They may give you like 12 years or life imprisonment. Sometimes they will also issue you death penalty. Okay, it depends. But you will always take a chance, right? So you have all the authority according to 132(1) of the Constitution. You have the authority. An appeal shall lie to Supreme Court from any judgment, decree or final order of the High Court in the territory of India, whether civil, criminal or any other proceeding. So you have the authority to appeal to the Supreme Court. We're done with that. Then there's something known as advisory jurisdiction. Advisory, it can advise. Okay, Supreme Court can advise. So advisory jurisdiction, that means under Article 143. Okay, 143, the President of India may obtain the opinion of the Supreme Court of India on any question or fact of law which may be public importance and may need any advice from the Supreme Court. So, President, for any law time being, President have any issues with that or doubts with that, okay, or if he wants to implement that, he wants some advices, so he can ask for the Supreme Court for advice. Okay, President under 143, the President of India may obtain opinion. He can ask the opinion from the Supreme Court. Okay, he may obtain the opinion of the Supreme Court of India on any question or fact of law which may be of public importance and may need any advice from the Supreme Court. This process is known as presidential reference. This process of taking this opinion from the Supreme Court is known as presidential reference. Okay, so Supreme Court have the authority to advise the president. Okay, that is known as advisory jurisdiction. Okay, that is in 143. (142), 143. Okay. What is 143 there? Power of President to consult Supreme Court. Okay, so if at any time it appears to the President that a question of law or fact has arisen or likely to arise, which is of a nature and of such public importance that is expedient to both the opinion of the Supreme Court upon it, he may refer the question to that court for consideration, and the court may, after hearing as it thinks fit, report to the President of their opinion. So court can give the advice or opinion. Okay, that is known as advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India. So that is under 143, Article 143. Okay. So that is known as presidential reference. When president is asking something advice from the opinion from the Supreme Court, that is known as presidential. President can take the advice or he can reject it. Okay, it depends on him. Okay, he can either take it or reject it. It depends upon him. Then review jurisdiction. Review jurisdiction. Review jurisdiction means the Supreme Court has the power to review any judgment pronounced or order made by it. Article 137 provides. Article 137 provides for the review of judgment or orders by the Supreme Court wherein subject to the provisions of law made by the Parliament or any judgment pronounced or made by it. Okay, so what does it tell? When the Supreme Court passes any law or anything, it has all the power to review it. It can edit it. Okay, it can review that law again. Okay, so Supreme Court has the power to review any judgment pronounced or order made by it. It can review the order or judgments. Okay. Article 137. Article 137 provides for review of judgment or orders by the Supreme Court wherein subject to provisions of any law made by the Parliament or any judgment pronounced or made by it. Okay. So if any parliamentary laws are making also, then also Supreme Court has the authority to review it. Okay. So Supreme Court has 137. So what does Article 137 state? Okay. Subject to the provisions of any law made by the Parliament or any rules made under Article 145, the Supreme Court shall have the power to review any judgment pronounced or ordered by it. So Supreme Court has the authority to review any judgment or order pronounced by it. Okay, that is known as, what is known as review jurisdiction. Okay, review jurisdiction or review power of the Supreme Court. So we have seen about the Supreme Court today. We have seen about different. Next is our High Court. We'll explain our High Court in next lecture, no problem. So what have we seen? We are seeing about different courts in India. So India has a judiciary system. There are so many different stratas of courts. Okay, you have the Supreme Court, you have the High Court, and you have the District Sessions Court. You have the Panchayati Raj, Lok Adalats, and all those things. Okay. Then at the highest level there is a Supreme Court. At the highest level, what is there? At the highest level there is Supreme Court, which is followed by the High Courts. Okay. Then You have seen all this. Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, Lok Adalats or village courts and tribunals. Apex Court, who is Apex Court in India? That is Supreme Court. When was it constituted in 28th January 1950. It's in New Delhi. Okay. It comprises of Chief Justice and 25 other judges. Okay. We've read about the articles 127 to 147. Supreme Court, this is Supreme Court. Jurisdiction, original jurisdiction, where it has the original power in the union, any dispute between union states, between one or the other states and between a group of states and others. Okay. So appellate jurisdiction, appeals, where I can take appeals, that is from 132 subclause 1 of the Constitution of India. Then advisory, it can advise the president and president can ask for Supreme Court's opinion, and that process is known as presidential reference, that is under 143 of the Constitution of India. Then we have one more, that is review jurisdiction. So it has the power to review any judgment passed by it, okay, any order passed by it, or the parliament also can ask to review that order. Okay, so that is known as review jurisdiction. So we are done with the powers of Supreme Court and explain about what is Supreme Court. Okay, next tomorrow we will explain about the High Court and the other courts, the sessions courts. Okay, fine. So thank you.